When DC Studios announced an adaptation of Tom King and Bill Keys-Everly's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, fans expected a masterpiece. The comic was a lyrical, pastel-drenched space western about grief, radical empathy, and the brutal weight of survival. What we got in theaters was a conflicted blockbuster, a movie caught between studio-mandated needle drops, generic post-apocalyptic wastelands, and a bizarrely hypocritical ending where our hero preaches pacifism to a child before executing the villain herself. It didn't have to be that way. The ingredients were already there. By restructuring the narrative, leaning into the indie western tone, treating the galaxy like a grimy backwater road trip, and focusing entirely on a messy, rebellious sisterhood, Supergirl could have been the defining cinematic space opera of our generation. This is the story of the movie we should have received. Act 1. The Graveyard and the Hearth. Dying days of a civilization. We are on Argos City, a domed fragment of Krypton drifting aimlessly through the cold vacuum of space. The architecture is neoclassical and hauntingly beautiful, but the soil beneath is glowing green with radioactive rot. When her father, Zor-El, realizes all hope is lost, he loads Kara and a scruffy puppy named Crypto into an escape pod. I really liked the whole scene that they had going in the film, but I think it serves better as an opening here. Wow, so cliche, but I think it works when you play certain cliches well, you know? As the pod launches through the atmospheric barrier, tearing away from the doomed dome, the screen hard cuts to black. We do not see Earth, no Clark Kent just yet. We leave Kara suspended in the void, a child fleeing a cemetery. From the dark, we transition to the red sun of Holzer. Instead of rushing into violence, the story takes time to breathe. We spend 2 full, rich scenes living with Ruthye and her family. We meet her father, Elias, a master swordsmith who treats his forge like an altar. He teaches Ruthye that a blade carries the soul of the person who wields it, and that violence is a debt you can never truly repay. We watch her brother, Emond, laugh and roughhouse with her in the tall grass. We learn to love their family. And that's why, when the fire comes, it actually hurts. Krem of the Yellow Hills arrives at their doorstep. In our version, Krem is not commanding a generic CGI armada of sex traffickers. He is something far more recognizable and terrifying, a petty, insecure brute with a fragile ego. He is a small man who demands unearned respect. I mean, I like his aesthetic in the movie, but maybe we can dial down, the edginess of it. Elias refuses to bow to his demands. Krem's pride shatters. He murders Ruthie's father and brother and burns the homestead to ash and leaves Ruthye with her father's blade lodged beside her family's graves. I like the way it played out in the movie. If they just added a bit more context to Ruthie's family, it could have, given some more gravitas to the whole situation. So, with Ruthie's family buried, she takes the sword and walks into the cosmic underworld looking for blood. When she arrives at the nearest interplanetary outpost, she begins hearing rumors of dangerous figures roaming the sector. Whispers speak of a demonic bounty hunter on a flaming motorcycle tearing through cantinas and a reckless blonde girl who can drink entire crews under the table. Only then do we meet Kara Zor-El. She's slumped in the corner booth of a dingy Red Sun tavern wearing sunglasses indoors, nursing a massive hangover on her birthday with a scruffy Crypto resting at her boots. Under the Red Sun, she's mortal, so she's really feeling this hangover. And most importantly, she can get drunk again so that she can forget that she's a survivor of a dead world. Ruthye approaches her with a bag of coins and her father's sword, begging for an executioner. Kara doesn't give a heroic speech. She sighs, pushes the sword away, and tells the kid to go home before the universe eats her alive. Act 2. Cosmic Highway and Sisterhood. The galaxy in this story is not going to be shiny sci-fi. And I think that's kind of what the movie that we did get kind of got right. It's grimy, it's dangerous, it's kind of like a backwater highway. Thinking a bit of like Cowboy Bebop and a 1970s road movie. The planets they visit are going to be surreal though, and more vibrant and more tactile and more alien than what we got. We're gonna ditch the 80s pop rock needle drops and not try to do the whole Guardians of Galaxy thing again. No, instead we're gonna focus maybe on a film score by Junkie XL. We already have Junkie XL on the payroll, like just get this guy back in. We're gonna have more sweeping, tragic, orchestral themes with undercurrents of glitchy, distorted hyper-pop and futuristic alien club tracks kind of bleeding through the orchestra. The cantinas are filled with strange practical effects creatures smoking alien narcotics and flickering neon signs, listening to music that sounds like it was beamed from another dimension. We do not need earthly needle drops in these situations. Running parallel to their journey is going to be Lobo, obviously. We need Lobo to make more sense in this movie. Lobo is on a path of destruction, hunting Krem, second in command, for a massive bounty. Throughout the second act, Kara and Lobo is going to keep narrowly missing each other across different star systems. Kara's going to walk into a space station, feel dark 10 minutes after Lobo threw a bartender through a window. Lobo is going to pull up to an orbital dive bar right after Kara smashed a rowdy alien through the roof. It builds the sense of shared chaotic ecosystem without grinding the plot to a halt just to make universal cameos. The chase only truly begins when Krem makes a fatal mistake. Having seen Kara humiliate one of his thugs at a tavern, Krem's fragile ego cannot handle being mocked by a girl. He ambushes Kara's parked ship, vandalizes her gear, and sets her favorite legendary dive bar on fire. When Crypto leaps to defend her belongings, Krem shoots the dog with a heavy hunting bolt and flees into space with Kara's spaceship. Crypto is wounded, but we dodge the cheap, manipulative trope of this 3-day poison countdown. No, Crypto is a Kryptonian dog. What he needs is not some magical antidote. He needs to reach a yellow sun so his cells can process radiation and heal. So Kara and Ruthye are forced onto public cosmic transit together, bound by this mutual necessity. This is where the emotional engine of the film kicks into gear. The dynamic between the two traumatized girls gets uncovered. Kara is the chaotic, cynical older sister who acts completely invincible because she's emotionally numb to loss. Ruthye is this rigid, disciplined younger sister whose grief is still fresh and razor sharp. Ruthie's moral clarity is going to begin to ground Kara's reckless nihilism. Kara's fierce protectiveness will shield Ruthye from losing her humanity. This story is going to be unapologetically crafted and aimed for young women and tomboys who want to see complex, battle-hardened heroines. I know tomboy now probably has like a weird connotation, but I'm trying to use this in the most endearing fashion for young girls who are interested in like so-called traditionally masculine activities. We're not going to have clean dialogue. We're going to hit it with a bit of the roughness that the original movie has. Maybe actually written as if it's real people talking to each other, I feel. Yeah, and they're just gonna have like a good 15 to 20 minutes of shared adventuring to strengthen their bond, because they're gonna keep trying to reach where Krem is, but he's gonna just be out of reach. Until Act 3, Retribution, Mercy, and the perfect payoff. So, when they finally track Krem's crew to a frontier system, the ship breaches the orbit of a massive yellow sun. Finally, the solar radiation floods Kara's veins. The melancholic tone of the film finally explodes back into this pure mythic spectacle. Kara supercharges Her eyes are glowing crimson, and she tears through the brigand fleet. It's gonna be the needle drop moment, but also not the weird needle drop that they had of a cover song. Like, no, this is gonna be proper, and we're gonna have a fully healed Crypto do his thing as well. At the same time, Lobo crashes through on his Space Hawk, finally colliding with our main characters in an explosive frenzy of chain whips and heavy artillery to secure his target. Look, it needs to make sense. There's a bounty on the second in command. Krem is also getting wrecked by Kara. The dust settles. Krem is beaten, bloody, and crawling in the dirt like the waste man he is. Kara disarms him and hands Ruthye her father's sword. The entire movie has built to the single choice: does Ruthye become a killer? Ruthie's contemplating it. She raises the blade. Her hands are shaking with that fury to exact vengeance. Krem cowers, his swagger completely gone, revealing the pathetic coward beneath the armor. That's when Kara steps forward, and she's not gonna preach to her. She's just going to hold the moment with Ruthye, and she's gonna speak like an older sister. Ruthye, I lost my entire planet. I watched my mother die in the dirt. For 14 years, every time I close my eyes, all I want to do is burn the stars down. But killing him won't bring Elias back. It won't bring Emond back. If you cut his throat today, you let a pathetic little man decide who you are for the rest of your life. Ruthie's really feeling it. She stares at the blade. The music drops. Resonant string tone. You can hear like the underlying distorted breaking of the reverb tail on that note, like you'll get it if you know sound design. But she lowers the sword. She lets it drop to the dust. She turns around and buries her face into Kara's chest. The two girls embrace, weeping together in this desert backwater area. This everyone was complaining about how everything was looking dry and drab. We can have the dry and drab moment now. But they've broken the cycle of generational violence. Then, because James Gunn and everybody just loves bathos, I think we're moving out of bathos into more pathos as we go into the later half of the 2020s. But just as a callback to all the superhero movies, the camera slowly pulls out on the two sisters hugging in the warm foreground. The focus softens on the background, but out of nowhere, Lobo strolls into frame, casually strikes a match on his boot, lights a thick cigar, unsheaths a massive machete, and with one swift, unceremonious swing, Lobo decapitates Krem, drops his head into a burlap sack, which probably has the other heads of the other brigands, slaps Kara on the shoulder and says, "Bounty fulfilled. Happy birthday, kid." And he hops on his bike and blasts off into the stars. You see, this single structural fix completely eliminates the moral hypocrisy of the original film. Kara and Ruthye achieve their profound emotional and psychological victory by choosing mercy and sisterhood, while the narrative delivers the darkly comedic, cathartic justice the audience wanted through the bounty hunter. The bounty hunter was right there, guys. Why was he on a hill, nodding, looking at the girls, when he could have been in the action? It just didn't make sense in the original movie. Anyway, before we reach the credits, the film returns to the flashback we cut short in the opening minutes. We see Kara's escape pod crashing into the blinding white glaciers of the Arctic on Earth. Hatch hisses open. A terrified, traumatized young Kara looks up, clutching puppy Crypto to her chest, expecting an enemy. No, she sees an awkward, smiling young man. Man, I really like this Superman. In his blue suit and red cape, Clark Kent reaches out a gentle hand and softly says, "Hi, you're safe now. Welcome home." Cut directly to present day. Kara lands softly on the balcony of Clark's metropolis apartment, looking over the glowing city skyline and the rebuilt LexCorp Tower. Clark, who spent the entire movie worried about her, sending those video calls, video notes, shout out WhatsApp, checking in on her, opens the balcony door. Kara looks at him, smiles, finally at peace, and says, "I'm ready to stay." And then we can even have like the cute little chat that they had in the original movie. I actually like that little chat. I felt like it was a great full circle grounding moment. She's not running from the ghosts of Krypton anymore. By saving a little girl from the darkness of vengeance, Kara Zor-El finally found her place in the universe. She stepped out of her cousin's shadow, closed the book on her grief, and became the true woman of tomorrow. What do you think, guys? If you enjoyed this narrative deep dive and script rewrite, hit like and subscribe for more prestige comic book and anime analysis. Until next time, believe in the power of sisterhood.